Hello everyone. So today I have an updates video for you guys. So I wanted to make a really quick little announcement in case you didn't see my post in the community tab. For the next 5 Tuesdays, there's going to be a video, and these are going to be cases that have either occurred in 2024 or they finally have conclusions in 2024. And these are all cases that are very close to my heart. These are the cases that I've been working on for a minute now. And yeah, I wanted to finish the year off with these ones. And then in January, I'm going to try to have a video up every day. At minimum, I hope to have at least 4 to 5 days a week a video. I just have so many cases on my list. Like, I have list after list after list of cases to get through. And I hate having to just wait to do cases, or it just feels like I don't have enough time to do them because there's just so many. So I figured I would just put out as many as I possibly can, and get their names out there, and that is my plan. But if not, my schedule plan for 2025 is 4 to 5 days a week there will be a video. And if you follow me on Wicked, it's probably going to be about 3 to 4 days over there. And then once we start getting building up more of a community, I'll probably do like 5 days. But I think that's it. I didn't want to go too long on that. But today's updates, we're talking about Alexee Trevizo, Tyre Nichols, and Sade Robinson. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick overview of each case and then their update. Alexee's and Tyre's is quite long. Sade's, we didn't have much information with her case to begin with. And the update is quite small as well, but it is an update. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. But if you'd like to go and watch the original videos, these are all videos that I have done this year. Sade is probably the most recent one, but they should be fairly easy to find on the channel. I highly suggest that. There's a lot of information. There's even case updates regarding Alexee. I think this is either the second or third time we've had a case updates with her. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do, and let's go and get into this. All the links I use for research will be down below, like always. So we're going to start off with Alexee. So Alexee Trevizo, she was the teen that went to the hospital in New Mexico in January for back pain. And she went to the bathroom after they gave her a pregnancy test and all that. They said she was pregnant. She was trying to hide it from people. So she went to the bathroom, and that's when she gave birth. And she ended up putting her baby in the trash while it was still alive, which effectively killed it. And we know this because the autopsy said the baby died of asphyxiation. She tried to say that it was like already dead, and then that's when like her whole case played out. Well, we now have the update. So Artesia Hospital is being sued for the death of that baby, which is named Alex, or she named Alex. So her attorney, Gary Mitchell, said that his experts concluded that the hospital is ultimately at fault for the death because of negligence and the medication that was used. According to court documents, she went to the hospital at 11:47 p.m., and then 20 minutes later, she was given medication like, okay, I might butcher these names, but I'm going to try, ketorolac, ondansetron, and morphine, which documents state that some of those have warnings in being used for pregnant patients. At 12:51 a.m., labs came back with a positive pregnancy, but staff continued to administer the same medications despite already knowing that she was pregnant. And then from 1:30 a.m. to 2 a.m., she was left in the bathroom unattended. Around 2:40 a.m., Alex, the baby, was found and pronounced dead. And a quote from Gary Mitchell, he says, "According to our experts, the baby didn't have a chance of survival and didn't survive. The morphine and the negligence of the hospital was the direct and true cause of death," end quote. When asked how to justify, the baby being put into a trash can, because she very much did that, this is what he had to say. And this is where, for me, one, I'm like, because up till then I was like, okay, maybe the hospital did have something to do with this. Like, she's not completely off scot-free, but maybe, when asked to justify that, he said, what else was she supposed to do? And that is the quote. What else was she supposed to do? She put a baby in a trash can at a hospital. There are doctors there. If she gave birth and that baby was dead, I don't know about you, but I'd be freaking out like, oh my god. I would be asking for help. She didn't think to ask for help in a hospital. what else was she supposed to do? Ask for help. He tried to say that the medication, like, put her in, like, a weird state of mind or something. I don't buy that. Now, I don't know anything about these medication. I have been on morphine before. That being said, I have never been so out of my mind on morphine that I didn't know. Okay? I've also taken Autonestron. I can't say it for crap, but I've been on it. I have not been on Ketorolac. That being said, never been so out of my mind that I did not know what I was doing. So I don't buy it for 1 second. I think she knew what she was doing. And this comment just shows for me a lack of empathy, compassion, and quite frankly, a lack of critical thinking skills. You are her defense attorney, and your response is, well, what is she else supposed to do? She's at a hospital, Gary. But this also makes me start to doubt him as a competent defense and any credibility that his experts may have. Because if this is the way you're thinking, how do I not know your experts think the same way? They're his experts. They're the people that he hired to look into this. If your way of thinking is, she's in a hospital, no, she's not going to ask for help. I don't trust you or your experts, if I'm being completely honest, because now you just don't make sense to me. But moving on from that, Gary Mitchell also says that he has filed to dismiss the criminal case, but also to suppress evidence that would have been used because the doctors violated the doctor-patient privilege. As of August, evidence did get suppressed, but her trial got canceled, and the case has been vacated. You heard that right. So if you're wondering what that meant, so if you know anything about this case, a lot of, like, her being in the hospital, what they were talking about was on camera. There were cops in her waiting room asking her, like, did you know you're pregnant, and all this, and, like, the baby's dead, and all this. Like, it was on camera, it was in the hospital, so, like, yes, it was, I guess, technically a violation. That being said, the cops kind of need to have their cameras on. I guess you could argue that they should have shut it off inside the hospital. But I hate that is the spot we're in because of where this is going. They canceled the trial, and the case has been vacated. And that's because a judge ruled that all the comments made by Alexee in front of hospital staff and the video footage taken in the medical facility would not be admissible during her trial. Prosecutors have since filed an appeal with the New Mexico Supreme Court objecting to the judge's ruling that the footage of Alexee entering and exiting the bathroom where the baby was born is inadmissible, as well as her confession to her doctor that she gave birth to the baby. The Supreme Court has not yet set a date for hearing this appeal, but if the Supreme Court sides with the prosecutors, then a new trial date would likely be set in the case. But if the initial order from the judge stands, it's unlikely that prosecutors would have enough evidence to try Alexee for murder. So, just as a reminder, asphyxiation was the cause of death in the baby's murder. There was an autopsy done. It was asphyxiation. That is a fact. That is what that said. She decided to put that baby in the trash can, the very least. Do I think that the hospital is negligent? Yes. Because she knew full well, or not she, I guess the doctors, or doctor, they knew full well, because I remember it was a lady. They knew full well, or you should at least know full well, the medications you're using should not be used with a pregnant person. Do I think that baby would have survived still? I don't know. But what we do know is that baby was alive when it was born. We know that because the cause of death was asphyxiation, which means it had to have been alive. And it said, I remember in the report specifically, it was talking about it being wrapped in a trash bag and all of that. And so we know that it was very least alive when it came out. So if that's the cause of death, I mean, maybe the medicine probably wouldn't have helped. Maybe it could have caused problems later on. But if the cause of death is asphyxiation, as far as I'm concerned, she did kill that baby. Now, this is allegedly for legal reasons. I can't say, like, yeah, she did it, because I don't want to get in trouble. But that is my humble opinion. And there's a chance that she could just walk completely free from this. After what she did, hiding this baby, her pregnancy, and then doing this. And I remember Gary Mitchell also trying to argue people are like, well, she looked pregnant, because she did. You could tell that she had a pregnant belly. And they're like, how could she have not known this? And he's like, well, no. And he tried to defend that. And I guess to agree, sure. But if you knew like all the little comments she had been making to people, she knew she was pregnant. I don't buy that she didn't know. And it disgusts me that this judge is just like, you know what, let her go free. And maybe it hurts him. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, or her, whoever, and it hurts them to make this ruling, and they're thinking they're doing the right thing. It disgusts me, if I'm being completely honest, that she could just walk free. But at the very least, she did decide to put that baby in the trash can when she had every opportunity to try to save it. So do I think the hospital was negligent? Absolutely. They should have known better than to continue giving her medicine that has warnings about pregnant people using it. But could the baby have survived despite all the medications? Maybe. I feel like the initial report of the baby dying from asphyxiation is pretty damning to me, and I just think that if Alexee Trevizo is going to be allowed to walk free, honestly, we should all be upset, because this would be a great miscarriage of justice, and that is just not justice at all for little Alex. That breaks my heart, but that is the update I have for you guys on Alexee. I will continue letting you know if there is a decision with the Supreme Court. It'll probably be the new year when we hear more, but moving on to Tyre. So, on January 7th, 2023, 29-year-old Tyre was fatally injured by 5 police officers in Memphis, Tennessee, and he would die 3 days later. The officers pulled him from his car before pepper spraying and tasering him. He broke free and ran to his mother's house, which was less than a mile away. Officers would catch up to him, where they punched, kicked, pepper sprayed him, and struck him with a baton. The medics that were on the scene, they failed to administer care for 16 minutes. Tyre had been stopped for reckless driving, and later clips would come out, and the MPD later released them. These clips were actually edited. They were not the full clips. An autopsy determined the cause of death as blunt force trauma to the head, and it was ruled a homicide. So the officers were discharged on January 8th, 2023. They were arrested and charged on January 26th with second-degree murder, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated assault, official misconduct, and official oppression. 3 officers pled not guilty. Officer Desmond Mills Jr. pled guilty to federal charges of deprivation of rights and conspiracy, and agreed to cooperate with prosecutors on November 2nd, 2023. Officer Emmett Martin III initially pled not guilty, and then changed his plea to guilty on August 23rd, 2024. So very recently. The MPD has disciplined, relieved of duty, dismissed, and arrested 13 officers, 5 Memphis Fire Services terminated 3 employees for their failure to evaluate or assist Tyre. And as of September 2024, a trial was underway for 3 of those officers. And while this trial was going on, should Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith be convicted, they could face up to life in prison. Well, as of October, following the 4-week trial, a federal jury found all 3 guilty of federal felonies related to Tyre's death. The 2 who pled guilty have also been convicted. Demetrius Haley was found to have deprived Nichols of his constitutional right to be free from an officer's unreasonable force when he, Martin, and Mills unlawfully assaulted Tyre and willfully failed to intervene to stop his co-defendants from using force. The jury found that Demetrius Haley's conduct resulted in bodily injury, and Haley, Bean, and Smith were convicted of their effort to try to cover up the case of using excessive force, by providing misleading and false statements and omitting material. The jury also found that they disregarded their training. So they have been convicted of this. Their sentencing dates are set for January 2025. So in the next couple months, we should know what their sentence is going to be. Demetrius Haley faces a max of 10 years for depriving an individual of their civil rights and being indifferent to the known serious medical needs of Tyre. He faces a max of 20 years for conspiracy to witness tamper and witness tampering charges. Bina Smith also faced 20 years for this charge as well. Martin and Mills entered their guilty pleas for their charges, also federal charges, admitting that they used excessive force and failed to intervene, resulting in the death of Tyre. Sentencing for Emmett Martin III is scheduled for December 5th of this year, and sentencing for Desmond Mills is to be scheduled at a later date, so we don't know when his will be yet. Hopefully we will have news next month in January of, sentencing dates or what their sentences could be, and hopefully Tyre finally gets the justice that he deserves. So that is the hope. That is some good news there, that things were done in this case. Although I will say, because the 5 officers that I'm talking about, they were all black officers. I have a feeling if they were white officers, this might be a different story. That's just how I felt, because I have never heard of officers being disciplined this quickly. But knowing that they're black officers, I don't know. Something about that just feels like they act very quickly because of that. Now, I'm not saying that they're the victims. I'm just saying, if you can act this quickly in this case, why can't we do this for other cases, But moving on to Sade, her update is very, very small, because I could find very little information, but in April, Sade went on a date with a man named Maxwell Anderson in Milwaukee. On April 3rd, a severed leg was found, and Sade's burned car would also be found. And Maxwell would be pulled over, and a bloodstain would be found in his car. A bloodstain belonging to Sade. We already didn't have much info on the case, like I was saying, but we know now is that Maxwell is charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and arson of property, not a building, but of property. He is accused of killing Sade and dismembering her and dumping her body parts. Maxwell is due back in court November 29th. So when you're seeing this, it's December 4th, I want to say. So this court date would have already passed. And that is for a jury status hearing. I assume to know who their jury is or whatever. I'm not completely sure what that means. And scheduled to go to trial in December. So it's moving very quickly. The update for the jury status hearing and his trial for December, I will probably have updates for you in January. As soon as I know information, I will start compiling a video, or information for a video. So that is happening now. Not when I'm filming this, but when you're seeing this, those updates are happening now. So her trial is moving on, or the trial for the guy who killed her is moving forward. So that's good. We're getting something done about that. So really, I would say the bad news here is about Alexee. That is not the news I wanted to give you guys. I have been waiting and waiting to hear her trial, and knowing that she was going to get put away for what she did to that little baby. But there is a very big chance that might not even happen. Unfortunately, I hope that's not the case. And I hope that baby gets some justice. But I wanted to bring you guys these updates. I didn't even know this video was going to be this long. I'm so sorry. But thank you guys so much for listening to this video. Let me know your thoughts down below. I can't wait to have more updates for you guys. Hopefully we'll have some updates with other cases I haven't talked about before. And yeah, I will see you guys next week. I believe next week is going to be the case that I've been working on the longest. And I know that some people, when they watch videos, they hate it when the person telling it is emotional. I am putting it out there. I will probably cry in these videos. Just some of the personal details really just grabbed at my heart, and it made me cry. So they will be emotional, and they will be infuriating, but they are important to tell. And I hope I see you there. See you next Tuesday, guys. Bye, guys.